Let's talk about Lizzo. Now, if you're not familiar with Lizzo, she's this hip-hop artist who plays the flute while she's twerking on stage. Two things that should never mix. And anytime you try to ghettoify something, you're going to ruin it. Case in point here. And can I be honest? I can't stand the flute. Cannot stand the sound of the flute. Unless maybe it's with some type of Latin or Brazilian jazz band. I love Latin and Brazilian jazz. But on its own, it's a weak instrument. It's for sissies. It weakens orchestration. Two instruments we can do without in the orchestra, the flute and the oboe. Take out the flute and the oboe and you'll be just fine. And I know I'm going to ruffle the feathers of a lot of you flute players out there. And I know a lot of you women out there have these fond memories of playing the flute in high school. But I don't want to hear the flute. Remember being in band class? And they couldn't quite tune the flutes just right. And every time they tried to tune the flutes, you'd always get this shrill sound or these sound waves that would bounce off the walls and make your ears bleed. So no, I don't want to hear the flute. Who wants to sit there and listen to some dull, boring flute concerto? I know I don't. I want strength in my music. So at any rate, Tuesday night, Lizzo, historic moment, gets up on stage in D.C., and she plays for the first time this crystal flute owned by our fourth president, James Madison. And she's wearing this bikini thong type thing, butt all over the floor, stomach hanging out. Just gross, folks. Just gross. But she made fat beautiful again. I'm sorry, she's not fat, she's Rubenesque. Rubenesque. So she comes out on stage, she's wearing this bikini thong looking thing, butt all over the floor, stomach hanging out. Reminds me of one of those 60-year-old guys from Germany or Australia that you see out on the beach down south. And they're wearing a Speedo with their stomach and junk hanging out. That's what it reminds me of. So she gets up to the microphone after picking her butt up off the floor, tucking her stomach in, wearing this bikini thong type thing. And she says, "It's crystal. It's like playing out of a wine glass. Be patient." And she plays one note. One note, does a trill. And the audience goes wild. Cheers, applause. And the sad thing is that outside of that, and you can find clips of this, she's a pretty good flute player. She studied music. She's played with the New York Philharmonic. So she's quite talented when she's not twerking. And she's played at the Library of Congress and I believe the National Archives, because the Library of Congress has this flute vault with like 1,800 flutes. Run, everybody. They've got a flute vault at the National Archives with 1,800 flutes. Personally, I prefer the sound of the much richer, mellower tenor recorder. I think it blends well with other instruments. It tunes a lot better. And it sounds really good in orchestration. I know because I write music in my spare time, and that's one of the instruments that I use on top of clarinet, saxophone, or alto sax, bassoon, French horn, trombone, strings, timpani. So I thought I'd come here and talk about this. Because if you're going to play out of this historic instrument, owned by one of our presidents, our fourth president, James Madison, shouldn't you come out on stage wearing maybe a sequin gown, be a little more classy here? Playing with possibly some small orchestra or a jazz band. That would have been really cool. But no, she had to ghettoify everything, come out wearing this bikini thong thing, with all this cellulite, butt all over the floor, stomach hanging out, as she's holding this crystal flute owned by one of our presidents, our fourth president, James Madison. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, you know what to do. You can also follow me at Instagram, #JasonComposes, or find me at Twitter, Culture Confederacy Twitter, This is the Cultural Confederacy saying peace out, stay safe, everybody. God bless this great country, and I'll catch you next time. And please, no twerking and playing the flute on stage. Y'all have a great weekend.